like I'll bring a balloon and just rub the balloon for 3 minutes and maybe breathe in, and rub the balloon. And like the guy before you, he could play like, whatever, Jimi Hendrix, and he did a great dad rock cover song, and he actually knows what he's doing, but you play a balloon and breathe for 3 minutes, you can hear a pin drop. Everybody's at the edge of their seats like, what is this? And then you really just basically, because sound is just so much taken for granted that you take a chord or a strum or a nice melody, but you bring them vibrations that their ears are not accustomed to. They are fascinated. People are just like little tiny insects. They're just fascinated by unusual sounds. When you bring unusual sounds to a performance, they just sit at the edge of their seat and want to see what happens. So I try to kind of that interest, try to build up that momentum, and then I like to use release with a dazzling joke or a light show.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
What's up, everybody? It's the Poorly Edited Podcast, the show where we put a spotlight on some of the most creative minds we can find, as best as a couple college kids can do.
Not very well. Come on, Pat, we gotta do it at the same time.
Want to try it again?
Yeah, sure. Not very well.
I forgot it. I'm sorry.
You guys don't do not very well, not very well.
No, I
There's like there's an
we
irony.
can't even get that right.
No, we do not very well, not very well. Right?
Yeah, that's right,
Moving
you're right.
on.
I'm a big fan of double negatives.
We're coming at you live from WXLV, the X on Ultra C main campus. We're here with, I'm Chandler.
My name is Coffee Guy.
My name's Patrick.
We got Lizzie Cates on the camera, and to my side, we have the one, the only, Nate Marks.
Hi guys,
How are you doing?
commentators. I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me. I am very grateful to be here.
Thanks for showing up. Most people don't.
Yeah.
We don't post those episodes.
I don't even show up
Yeah,
half the time.
And I see that. Use an alias too.
Sometimes
When
we
you
get
do-
here,
right.
the studio isn't here. It's weird.
They
Wow.
move it sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you guys might be fickle, so I brought some sodas to entice you to stick it
I'm
out.
pretty excited.
Yeah.
And what are they?
They Dr. Brown's celery sodas. They're celery flavored sodas.
I've never had celery.
Have you
flavored
had
soda.
one of these before?
Oh yeah, many a time. They're great. If you like celery and you like soda, imagine the two
vegan?
combined. No. I'll have meat soda if they made it. I just
terrifying.
I was told that I was promised pad thai on the way here, and that didn't come through.
By us?
No, by Amaris. She said she'd get me pad thai. I don't know if there's a tradition of bringing exotic foods to your
That
guests.
sounds like her. That sounds like something she would say.
So
She's not even looking like she's
empty
getting
promises and
pad
false
thai.
hopes aside, I got here and I wanted to reciprocate the gesture with something exotic. But I was thinking about bringing like something like baba ganoush or sun dried grasshoppers from a Mexican bodega, Chapulines.
Yeah.
And they ran out. They're all run out today. That's why
There's
I
no
had-
more grasshoppers.
No more Well, there are, but they're not edible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're still kicking,
Yeah.
still jumping. So that's it. I was like, what do these guys want? Celery soda.
Right, of
That's it.
What do
that's-
kids like nowadays?
What do kids-
Celery soda.
It's all about going green, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry Amrest did that to you. I think that was pretty rude of her.
No, I think it was business practical. I liked it.
think?
It got me here. Yeah.
It's
Take no prisoners approach. It's like you're here.
Yeah, we're very-
now you're contracted. You're in a swivel chair. It's hot. They sealed this door.
really hot.
I know I'm
It's
locked
vacuum
in here.
sealed.
yeah. Wewe're very Machiavellian about
know.
our
It's actually
pad
the
thai.
airlock.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just suck you out into a vacuum.
We're at the blast off.
space. Yeah, we're about to blast off. This whole station's going up
Yeah.
to space.
The only air I'm really breathing is whatever pocket of air got caught in this microphone
Last
foam.
week. Yeah.
It smells like your last guest, Septum.
Wait, can you guess his name? Can
you guess?
Like, what are you getting from the smell?
There's a subtle trace of Brandon Wonder.
Oh, okay.
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 I smell some Allentown bohemian grunge art. But then there's a trace of some more promising, a handsomer, younger chap.
Okay.
Maybe musician.
Okay.
College kid musician.
That's most people.
No, not Brandon Wonder. After Brandon Wonder, who was the last guest?
Seth Witcher.
Seth. Yeah, that's exactly what
That's it?
I'm detecting.
That makes
And
sense.
he's a cool,
He's very
handsome,
very cool.
musical
very
kid.
handsome.
Okay. Yeah, I smell that. I got that. It's the pheromonal output.
That's crazy. Have you been honing that skill for a while?
Just when it comes to certain people and certain microphones, and then certain people's smells on certain microphones.
Interesting.
There's like a combination of things going on.
Are you a big fan of Brandon Wonder?
I'm a big fan. I respect him as a pillar of the community. He's doing a
For
great
sure.
thing, and so I like what he's doing, and I'm proud to help out or be a part of it. So good for him. But to say I'm a fan of a fan, then you kind of put this inferior superior thing, because I would love to say, if you'd ask Brandon, are you a fan of Nate Marks? He'd be like, who? So I can't say that to him because it'll be
Right.
fair, unless he
Because
tooted my horn first.
Once you admit you're a fan, then you're just below them.
Yeah, then
and they
you
win.
sell out.
Right? Yeah.
They win.
And you can't lose that easily.
No.
Speaking of
Why
fans,
is
you're
everyone
wearing,
staring at my
You're
shirt?
wearing a Will. It's very bright. It's very colorful. It's very distracting. You're wearing a Will Wood and the Tapeworm shirt. Shout out to him.
I wore this once when I was visiting my brother in Philly. We went to an Insomniac cookie.
okay.
And this dude was like, yeah, that's a sweet shirt. They have that except with 3s instead of 7s. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. Why would they make a design based around the number changes? It's a weird line of clothing.
I take it that's a band. Willward and the Tapeworms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a man. And
man.
insect. I wrote tapeworms. Are they insects?
Insects.
Parasites.
They're
Paris. There we
parasites.
go. I'm not,
I don't
I
know,
just-
but what family of? I mean, they're what would that? They're worms, right?
Oh, I'm no
Maybe they're
Like what
entomologist.
genus of
maybe they're
species?
tape. For basing it off the name.
Well, there's a lot of other subspecies. There's like duck tapeworms, Scotch tapeworms.
Oh, yeah.
There's staple worms.
Ooh, those sound.
you
There's
know,
painters tape
whiteout
worms.
worms, liquid paper worms.
Yeah.
I relate to that not because I like music at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
My one cat, Salo, has worms, and I noticed that while changing her box.
Okay.
And she has no tail. She's like
Okay.
a bobcat, something or other.
That's pretty lit.
And so when they sit down, it's direct like butt to surface contact, and there's worms involved. So like I have to look out for worms on my couches and stuff, worms on my pillows.
You're gonna get that fixed. Medicine
Yeah,
for that.
well, just until then, I'm using Pampers. Pampers and a spray bottle of like sanitizer vinegar. I just spray her
Interesting.
tail area.
Pets with diapers on are very funny.
Yeah.
I had to put Pampers on my Rottweiler when she was a puppy. It was very funny.
That is cruel.
They don't know what to do.
No,
Well, it
they
was for
don't.
her benefit, but
Okay.
yeah, it was for everyone's benefit. But Nate,
Sorry about that.
we went to go. It was a great segment.
Wait. Can we crack open these sodas though? Because I'm actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Crack one open.
Oh
with the
yeah.
boys. Yeah. I don't have
Are
I
we
one.
hope
gonna
you
sync
guys
this
like
up?
celery. So
Oh, I'm a
Do you want one, Chandler? I feel like you should have one for
Where
this.
is it?
They're right out that door, I think. They were supposed to do it all at once.
I'm with you
What are
guys.
you
Take
talking
it away.
about?
1, 2, 3. Oh, that was nice.
That's crisp.
Yep.
Ooh, those
a canned
waveforms are
orchestra.
looking good.
Is this gonna explode?
Just yours. I shook one up. This is the Russian relay of sodas.
I'm not a fan, honestly. I like it.
It's
Roulette?
unique. Mhm.
Yeah.
Roulette.
No, that was
It-
way fancier. What you said.
It kind of reminds me of the stuff you drink on New Year's when you're a kid. And your
Champagne?
parents not champagne. They're like sparkling grape juice from
That's
White.
Oh, yeah.
That's so not.
That's not bad. I
Yeah,
thought
right?
that'd be a
Yeah, I
lot
thought that was
worse
gonna
than
be-
that.
No, it's
Because
wonderful.
I don't like celery.
Yeah, it's subtle. It's
But
like a
this is
ginger
good.
beer
I
with
don't
the
like
brown
celery.
sugar. They made it out of the celery seeds, so it doesn't actually make with celery.
Not authentic. You're saying?
No, I guess more of the flavor is in a seed than the celery.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, celery is like a superfood or something because while you're eating it, you're burning more calories than you're getting from the celery.
That's true.
So theoretically, if you just like went to the gym, with, like your sweatband or whatever on, and you started eating celery, you'd be working out.
You actually
Very-
put celery in your
Yeah.
sweatband.
You just start
Yeah.
when you're running your
And
marathon.
especially if you sweat ranch dressing.
Oh, that's perfect.
Blue cheese. Yeah, that's a good medley.
That's extra calories though.
Yeah.
I like celery
anything.
soda because it gives all the leftover celery from your wings. When you go out for wings, it gives it a second chance. You know? It's like the orphan celery in the world.
It can still be something.
Yeah, it could
This isn't the end.
You're
for
going
it.
to make it someday, kid.
Nate, as we can tell from this opening bit, you're a comedian. I take it.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
All right. Well, that's going to change the whole dynamic of
Okay,
this
sure.
show.
I guess that's it for
You gotta,
I try, but if you say you're funny, then like, okay, then say funny things. And so I'd
yeah,
rather
it's like
be
the tell me a joke thing immediately
Yeah, yeah.
following that.
Is
That's
there-
terrible. Isn't that a terrible way to get put on the spot?
like knock knock.
Who's there?
It's me. You guys should have read this paper. I'm here.
Oh. We wrote that script.
Oh, okay.
should have known.
Yeah, I don't have a script. So
should have
you
known.
guys have me on, but I don't
Yeah,
have.
we
a
like to
script
keep the
funny.
guests in the dark.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like keep them a little scared.
Yeah,
Okay.
Keep the fear up.
Yeah, I do comedy. I'd like to know what it is that I do based on my fans' interpretations of what I'm doing. I don't want to get too headstrong and say I'm an artist. I'm a film director.
Right.
If I do it, enough people.
You let them decide.
Yeah, because I don't want to get pigeonholed into a one-trick ponyhood. So
Were you
I
just
do
looking at
comedy.
my frizzy hair.
It's wonderful. I can't.
like
It's I can't resist. Yeah.
I saw
It's
your
enticing.
eyes dart up.
Well, you kind of have
It's the weather.
It's the one eye that comes out, and then the other one is obscured by this this charming lock. It's just kind of like, am I trying to see you, or am I just trying to like not see you? You know?
Keeps a,
Yeah. Then he does that emo thing. You know?
the hair
It's
flip.
actually for just so I can see.
Okay.
I can't see.
They have haircuts for that.
If you ever wonder, for anyone who has never had long hair like that, if you ever wonder, like when people have hair in front of their eyes, if they can see, the answer is no. You can't see.
Okay, yeah, thanks for clearing that
Can't
up for
see
me.
through
Me and
hair.
Pat.
You can't see through hair.
Especially if
very
you have
easily.
like dry skin and it just starts itching over your face. It's terrible.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Cut your hair. If
No,
you're
it
living
doesn't
in that
happen
prison.
now.
Oh.
a prison. A hair prison.
Prison of frizz.
I have really bad. I think I have very good genes aside from my hair.
Yeah,
That's
they look like Levi's.
Thank you very much.
I have the opposite thing where people are like, dude, your hair is great. And I'm like, I didn't do anything.
I did.
It's just
nothing for
growing.
this.
I actually can't stop it.
I don't.
You look like you
deserve-
rinse and repeated.
I do.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
I could see
Sometimes
that.
I get lost in that cycle. I'm in the shower for hours.
Do you
but
believe in the whole shampooing your hair every day? It makes your hair fall out. Do you believe
It's
that?
not true,
Or
but
not
it's
fall
not
out, but,
good.
like,
It's
kills
not
your hair.
ideal for your hair. You're supposed to shampoo every
I think it
other
could-
day or
I
something.
think it's a conspiracy.
It's not. How would that make sense?
They would not make a conspiracy about you spending less money
Yeah.
over time.
The rinse and repeat
It's about
thing is the
who's
conspiracy.
advocating.
Yeah.
Like anti-shampoo.
to get you to keep on using their product. Till
Right.
Like sugar-free sodas, like make you hungrier.
Is that real?
Is that true?
Well, it's carbonated. It makes bubbles, so it makes
That's
room for
true.
your next Wendy's or whatever.
Next Wendy's. That's
Whatever it is you're putting down there.
The more we do this show, the less healthy we eat. Because like every time we finish the show, we always go out and eat at some fast food joint. It's just really terrible. Yeah, no, it's just terrible.
Where's the after party at tonight, guys?
We don't know.
We haven't
man.
decided.
It's probably Burger
Probably gonna
King.
be
I'm going to
Burger
be
King or
honest.
something.
There's
Oh,
one right
home
down
of the
road.
Whopper. Good for you guys.
Yeah,
you guys
thank
all omnivores? You don't have like any dietary restrictions?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm more carnivorous for
okay.
sure. I definitely lean
They actually
more.
use meat in some of the burgers at Burger King. So you're lucky.
a little bit. Yeah.
When did
Yeah.
that start? Has that always been a thing? Or like,
It's like they kind of had to step it up from the pink slime scandal, and then since then they
Right.
started integrating more beef into their beef.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've never eaten Burger King and then thought that was a good idea. I've never like walked away from a meal like that and been like, what a good decision.
It actually happened last week.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Emress were somewhere, and we were at a McDonald's, and Emress just wanted a sweet tea, and you started ordering. And we're like, dude, stop it. And you just kept ordering, and you ate food.
I just thought we were
And then
going in.
20
dude.
minutes later, we're like, all right, let's go get something to eat. And Shannon was like, I feel terrible, and I
Yeah.
paid for it.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are you doing?
It was terrible.
You just can't stop yourself. I think you just like hate yourself, and that's how you take
do,
that.
yeah,
That's your
like-
form of self harm is just
Yeah.
continuing to eat fast food.
Yeah, I do a lot of binge eating. It's really not good. Have you? I was saying, if you've ever finished an entire family pack of Oreos, like that's when you're like, I'm a monster. You know, like it's like really bad. When you get to that like
you start
last
feeling stuff that you shouldn't. You start feeling greasy, which doesn't make any sense 'cause it's just Oreos and they're just cookies. You just feel like disgusting. And
Yeah.
you're like, this doesn't
Are you
make
like
any
a milk and Oreo kind of guy? Or?
I can't eat cookies without milk. It's not even possible.
What about Whoppers with milk?
Oh,
sense. I like to do a little
terrible.
soak, you know.
Yeah.
I get the tub of milk, I put the Whopper in there, 15, 20 minutes, then it's ready to eat.
The sesame
Introducing-
bun in the middle still retains its crunch.
Yeah, for sure.
the new soggy Whopper from Burger King.
Available at all Burger Kings at all times.
Just dripping
like
wet.
always. Yeah.
Available in the dumpster out back.
You have options in Schnecksville.
No, you
I passed a bait.
There's a lot of
There's a bait and
dumpsters, yeah.
tackle shop. I thought about picking up some night crawlers for you guys. If you guys have like the midnight munchies,
Tapeworms, yeah.
or midnight when you're like hungry and baiting.
That midnight
mean fishing?
fishing? Yeah.
Yeah, baiting. It's a bait and
Yeah,
tackle shop.
yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
you know, worms, night crawlers, baiting. What are you guys on? Yeah. There's also Sunoco cheese dogs. I was thinking about getting one of those, but
You're also, to segue, you're also a musician, right?
I am. That's where my
I don't want to keep putting these labels on you because I
no.
know
Keep
you
on
just
putting them
said
on.
that.
And I'm fat.
You're also funny.
I've also heard
Okay.
you're a communist.
really
Is
cool.
there any truth to that?
That's spelled with an X. MARX. Communist. Yeah. And for the records, folks, I don't want to share.
Do you share jokes?
No, I don't borrow jokes or share
Sharing
jokes.
jokes is really not
Oh, no, I
cool in
pass-
the comedy
I pass-
world. Like Amy Schumer borrows the jokes all the time.
I'm
People
with
don't
you.
like
She's
that.
over. I believe she's a bit of a plagiarist and overrated.
A little bit.
Yeah. but I don't really look up to her one way or the
Who's
other.
who's appropriately rated in the comedy world? Perhaps
The ones you
perhaps
haven't heard
appropriate-
of. How about that?
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Really? You
the
think?
ones that aren't endorsed on TV or by $1 million
There's
companies.
some pretty.
There's some good ones, but for if you go to just your regular inner city or small town comedy nights, everybody you're seeing like, wow, that guy's good, that girl's good, everybody is really good, and then you see the same faces on sitcoms, and it's like, is there nepotism? Is there some sort of selling your soul involved? Because there's a
Yeah,
lot
probably.
of talent out there that gets
So it's,
overshadowed by
it's all
regular
like
people.
music in that way, where you go to like an open mic night and someone blows you away, but they're gonna be an accountant for the rest of their life because the right person didn't hear them.
Well, the thing with music that's interesting, and I guess the same could be seen as comedy, but if you really break it down as to what music is, are you there to play a song? Or you play music? Or are you there to show off what skills you learned? Or are you there to show off what you've developed as an artist yourself? So seeing a great music might have nothing to say. You might be an average musician, but have wonderful songwriting skills, and the way you present it is very enlightening to a lot of people. So people might not actually gauge your talent by the musicianship, but by originality. So by originality alone, I think you can really gauge what true talent is. It's not... break it down like this. There's a good joke I know. What's the difference between a jazz concert and a rock and roll concert? This is just like a joke. A rock and roll concert plays 3 chords for thousands of people, and a jazz guy will play thousands of chords for 3 people.
Yeah.
So by those standards,
That's
it's
really
like,
fun.
what is really talent? I think I'm really good, but I don't really sing that well, and my songs are not considered serious. So
Well, what are serious songs? I heard.
presentation with a straight face and tight
Freebird?
pants.
Freebird's a serious song.
Creep by Radiohead is
that's a
little
very serious.
That's one of my nemesis for going out and hearing aspiring musicians play cover songs, because one, the chorus and the verse is the same chord structure, same, and at the same time, like, everybody gets off when they drop the curse word in there. But there's so many better songs. I just don't feel
Yeah.
like why that's the staple to learning a new song when you play guitar.
I think that what you said is actually really interesting. I haven't heard many people describe that concept that way, of like, it's the way you present your material too, and there's so many, depending on the way you present it, could mean the difference between what people understand about your level of talent or understanding about your art form. That was pretty profound. I like that a lot.
I was up all night on that material. Thank you. But if you guys ever heard any of my songs, and you can make your own assessment as to if it's good or not, I don't know.
But you also said the serious song thing, and I remember, I don't know if you're familiar with Tenacious D.
Yeah, really
Another
great.
comedy, band. But I'm a big fan of them. I've been a big fan of them for years. But I remember in an interview, somebody asked Jack Black, like, are you a guy's gonna do serious music at any point? And he's like, what is that? Like, there's enough serious music, and like, what does that even mean? It's like, it doesn't have to be. Why does music have to be it can either be funny or it can be serious, and there's no in between. There's no like blurring that line. It's either.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like, people just don't take it seriously if it's like has some jokes in it.
Well,
It's like,
whether we like it or not, we're all kind of consumers as how marketing like looks at us, and they overcategorize everything. So everything is broken into
Yes.
left, right, black, white, right, wrong, funny, not funny, serious, not serious, and there's all these ultimatums, and nobody actually goes out and says it's just a little bit of everything, because we're all human and we're all trying to express each other, express something different to each other, but they want to over categorize it to better sell it to people. So that's why I find more original things aren't as profitable, and the less original you are, the easier you are to sell to the masses. So it sounds a little cynical, but that's where I'm at.
And then every once in a while, there's an artist that does both somehow, and it's like crazy.
Well, to be really super successful, I mean, they exist, but if we're talking about like how people hear about most things, which is like TV and radio, generally the most original things are not going to be presented on those formats. That's true. But you go anywhere in the world, you'll find interesting and original people everywhere. They're just not making millions for some sleazebag producer sitting back and sucking it up.
On
And
that
do you?
note, we're gonna go to a break. Oh no! I'm sorry. I know,
no.
right?
We'll be right back.
Pat, don't.
And we're back.
I'm sorry.
Oh man. So Nate,
I was talking about how I enjoy healthy meals and
was,
fresh,
like celery.
with fresh produce.
The celery, by the way, celery soda not great for you. There's like 34 grams of sugar in this can.
well, you
Soda. There's no way they're beating around the bush.
This just in, soda destroys your teeth.
I was gonna say something and you cut me off, Pat, and now I forgot it because Nate was being funny in between when I was trying to focus on remembering what I was gonna say.
You have a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I know. Just follow the we're going off the script, Nate.
Uncharted.
We're off
Oh
the
yeah,
script.
go on. Well, I brought mine.
Was that your
really?
script?
You have a cheat sheet.
inspirational.
that's
See a little
adorable.
kid in there.
A fellow cat memer.
I have the delivery of more celery.
No, really? Oh no, I think we're all.
No, there's one more out there. I
There
think.
is one more. Okay.
Do you have like a guy that like delivers this?
Yeah, Donald Pleasance. Yeah, and he earns his last name. Is that Pleasant? Look at that. It was like a Kramer
It was.
Burt burst through the door right
That
there.
was. Yeah.
Anybody need any celery? That guy's
So-
plugging this product great.
The phone's ringing off the hook
Yeah.
from Celery Inc.
So I'm
Get your
curious.
Dr. Brown
At one
scripts.
point, at one point, was ever like you saw like Michael Richards or something, and you're like, that guy's funny on TV. I want to be funny. I want people to say I'm funny.
I don't know where you're going with this, Michael Richards.
That was
bit,
actually
But
it.
go on. Oh,
It is Seinfeld.
I was referencing Kramer from the
Yeah.
Seinfeld because the way he burst through the door
Yeah.
with a catchfried. But Michael Richards has had a very
You know, he
less
said
than
some
graceful.
he said
fall.
some weird things. I meant back in the '90s. Back in the '90s on Seinfeld.
Yeah, okay, when he was relevant
Still, yeah,
and liked.
still and
Uh-huh.
funny and and
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Not as much recently.
I understand the apprehension when someone.
Well, I'm from Albertus, which is sort of a originally like what you call maybe a hick town, and
Yeah.
so like that's the kind of town where Michael Richards can still find employment as a comedian
Yeah.
with his
I'm also
brand
from
of sassy.
I also
Comedy.
come from a similar region.
Do you,
Yeah, it's rough.
Makunji?
No, Tamaqua.
I'm from
Oh wow, look
Macungie,
at
though.
that!
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about that?
I'm from Macungie though.
He's from.
Good for
I'm living
you.
it up.
Yeah.
Over there in the Bear Swamp.
Yeah, that's it. You live in a beer distributor or a diner.
That's exactly what I think of though. Yeah. That's great. Main Street Macungie, there's the Bear Swamp Diner, which is terrible. And then there's the Bear Swamp Food and Beverage. And
It's a terrible name
not
for
food,
anything
just
that
beverage.
you-
Yeah, I'd rather
supposed to
get my
eat.
lunch
Yeah.
at the beer.
It sounds like you might like
Bear
there's just a
Swamp.
50-50 your car is gonna leave the parking lot okay. Like you might just get stuck there.
Nate, you describe your music as a banjo filled with sauerkraut set on fire.
That's inaccurate.
What is that even? What does that mean?
I believe
Is there a
you
lot of German influence?
because of the sauerkraut part,
Right.
not the banjo part.
No, I don't
Not
think
the fire.
banjos
The
are
Germans didn't
inherently.
invent. I'm trying to think what the Germans invented. They didn't invent fire.
They invented
Okay.
the theory of relativity, I guess, because Albert Einstein's from.
Who was Austrian? College kids, Austrian, please.
Yeah, but he lived in Germany, didn't he?
That doesn't
I think he got out while it was good yet, to be fair, and he went to Princeton. So most
yeah.
of his research, as we know it, I think was from. I don't know much of Einstein's stuff.
You're a history guy.
He's from Austria, and I know he got out during World War II.
I'm also Austrian.
Good for you. High five. All right.
Never been there.
Yes, music wise, I kind of had a colorful, creative description about my music. I want it to be a little out there, and I like taking a lot of traditional roots, like banjo music or what have you, and then more the experimental avant-garde, noisy, weird stuff that pretentious artistic hipsters might like, and then maybe some of the more like punk and aggressive kind of things that people like, maybe restless teenage angst and youth.
Yeah.
So a little bit for the traditionalists.
I dig
A little
that.
something for the art crowd and a little something for the restless angry kids. So there's
So it turns out you can have everything.
you can't have everything. Well, I'm trying. So you take sauerkraut, put it inside a banjo, set it on fire, and
What
you
else
see
do
who
you
comes
need?
to your shows.
That's it.
And that's your target demographic. So it's not up to me.
Do you have any favorite banjo players, such as maybe Dean Martin?
Dean Martin.
Dean Martin's a singer.
Or
Wanna run that
or
back one more
Billy
time?
Bob. I'm sorry, Steve Martin is what I meant.
Steve Martin.
I meant or Billy Bob Thornton.
I love Sling Blade. I didn't know he played the banjo.
Pretty sure he does. Yeah, he's in a folk band. I'm pretty sure.
I think he's like in a Kevin Bacon. I don't know what Sling Blade's been playing. But no, I actually don't listen to too much bluegrass. I like Lester Flats and Earl Scruggs. They're like the traditional 5-string banjo pluckers. And my favorite banjo player, if you wish to find out, is Eugene Chadbourne, who is a living legend, and he's very experimental. He does jazz,
like a really
punk, and
made-up name.
banjo.
That's pretty
And
rad.
he's from North Carolina, and he has had his own record label for about 40 years. And he is the most prolific and experimental of any musician that I would say plays the banjo. So that's one of my favorites.
I'm just trying to get some air, dude.
We need some
It's
circulation
really
here for
hot
sure.
in here. for
Yeah, when
some
we
reason.
talk about banjos, everyone just gets a little hotter. Underneath the collar, you can just
How do
smell
you?
it.
Something I like asking, because I always like talking to people who don't play like more of the traditional set of instruments. So
Mm-hmm.
like, what got you into the banjo?
Oh, I play a little bit of everything, but I wanted to just basically play everything that I could. I played clarinet okay for a little while, but I play bass guitar, clarinet, banjo, and ukulele. the banjo just appealed to me at a time where I was just trying to explore different songs, and I was listening to a lot of country music at the time. And this going out for open mic, you just find every Tom, Dick, and Harry plays the guitar. And so
Yeah.
when you bring a banjo, even if it's not a very good banjo song you're playing or you're very good at it,
Starts turning
people
some heads.
It turns heads.
yeah.
But especially if you're weird with it, people very much enjoy that. And so before I knew how to play, I would use sort of like a stage art gimmickry to try to get their attention. And one of which, you take out the bridge of the banjo, and I would use a sardine from a can, and then you put the sardine underneath the strings, and you'd play whatever song you feel like playing, which was Madonna at the time, and fragments of like filleted sardine shards would just like be spraying your audience. And so the more you play, the more people get spritzed with fish fragments. And I thought it was fun for me, fun for them, and people have come up, and I might have done so many great shows. Me like, yo, I remember that time at the Wildflower where you played a banjo with sardines. I'm like, thanks, I guess. You know, like if
what
I
it's
ever
all
make
about.
it, that's the one thing I'll be remembered
You're the
for.
sardine
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, so that's what I was going for. But that's just an example.
You're like the Gallagher of banjos.
Yes, and I do hope that they bring garbage bag ponchos to come to my shows.
It's mandatory for the next
It is banjotory.
Oh,
So.
that's why he's.
Oh,
There it is. There. Oh, it didn't work.
You know what I don't like about people that put down puns is that it's still a pun. You know, I beat you to it. It's still a pun.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
That's why I have the bell.
Right. Well, people always assume a pun is a bad joke. It's just a pun. That's all.
Yeah.
It exists in its own little world. It deserves
Yeah.
to be bred. And
All right, don't put too many
Sure.
restrictions on what the bell can and can't be. All right.
all right. I want a bad attitude bell. Every time a pun is shot down, I'm like, you wish you came up with a pun bell.
Well,
You know?
that's out of frame, so it could be both be the same bell. We could just act
could-
like there's
yeah.
two bells.
Okay.
And then
Fine.
we
You can have your bell and we'll call it Tinkerbell. How about that? I don't want your bell.
Ooh,
how about that?
A lot of tension.
Battle of the
going on.
Bells. Yeah.
That's Saved by the Bell. All right. So how do you infuse, because I think playing music is challenging. Playing music well is challenging. And I think being funny is challenging. And you do both at the same time. How do you marry that?
The idea is to just try to create what you haven't really seen on stage. So to quote or loosely quote a George Orwell quote, he always wanted to write the books he never found on shelves. So whenever I'm at a show, it's like, why can't I hear really unusual guitar playing or ukulele playing, and then hear some jokes on top of it, and then hear funny topical songs, maybe with a little bit of edge. And it's just like a one-stop shop for the senses. And so I kind of want to provide what I would best want to find at a show. And so that's what I try to do. Something funny, something avant-garde, and something musically rehearsed and nice sounding as well.
Can you describe avant-garde for those who may not be familiar?
Avant-garde, I wish we could really break it down like historically what it means. But avant-garde is like a French word for like art that is meant to upset the senses, or art that's meant to question itself, like the Dada movement, or like putting like mustache on the Mona Lisa. So an example of avant-garde music is that you're not there to have fun, and you're not there to just make jokes, but it is very absurd in the most basic nature of your presentation. Like I'll bring a balloon and just rub the balloon for 3 minutes, and maybe breathe in, and rub the balloon, and like the guy before you, he could play like whatever Jimi Hendrix, and he did a great dad rock cover song, and he actually knows what he's doing. But you play a balloon and breathe for 3 minutes, you can hear a pin drop. Everybody's at the edge of their seats like, what is this? And then you really just basically, because sound is just so much taken for granted, that you take a chord or a strum or a nice melody, but you bring them vibrations that their ears are not accustomed to. They are fascinated. People are just like little tiny insects. They're just fascinated by unusual sounds. When you bring unusual sounds to a performance, they just sit at the edge of their seat and want to see what happens. So I try to kind of that interest, try to build up that momentum, and then I like to use release with a dazzling joke or a light show.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? You have to see it. Come out to a show sometime.
We were actually going to go to your show that happened this past week, but we actually got into a car accident.
Oh,
that
I
night.
heard. I'm sorry to hear that.
It kind of held us up a little bit. We couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But I was very disappointed because I've actually never even been to a comedy club. I've never been to a comedy show like that. So I was excited to see you perform.
It was actually, I think, the first thing we said to each other. When
Yeah.
it happened, we got out of the car. We were standing there. Like, we were fine. Then I turned to Shannon. I'm like, dude, I don't think we're making that comedy show.
It was just an open mic, and it's every 2 weeks, so no pressure. I know it was
Okay.
very rainy.
Yeah, it
but I'm
was.
sorry that you guys got rear-ended at Burger King.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It happens.
It does happen.
We're alive, which is really what's the important part.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we're
On
going to
that
go to a
note.
break. Will we be alive at the end of it? Who knows? Watch and
One
find
of us
out.
won't be.
This podcast is sponsored by Relevant, a location-based mobile network personalized by your interests. Customize your news feed to consolidate all the information you care about all in one place to quickly and easily find what's relevant to you. Find out what's going on in your local area and reach your community from the palm of your hand. Relevant is available on iOS and coming soon to Android. Be the first to know with Relevant.
And we're back. Poorly edited podcast. I didn't prepare what to say after this part.
I'm such a fan of like anti-comedy, anti-humor. I thought that what you said about, you know, the avant-garde stuff and the rubbing a balloon in a microphone for 3 minutes is hilarious. Because I just love the whole idea of like it's funny because there is no joke kind of thing, or like the joke is the audience, even, you know, kind of stuff. I just love that kind of stuff. And so I've never. But when you want to be funny and you're going about writing your material and stuff, I feel like, isn't that kind of a crossroads that you have to like commit to, where you're like, if this is the direction I'm going to go, where like making the audience sit on edge is like the humor of it. Like, is that something you can't like pivot very easily from that once you kind of start going down that road during a set? I mean, obviously you can change from set to set.
Sure. When you're on stage and you see the people just sitting there looking at you, really worrying about them as a dynamic and how you're going to do, you kind of lose your touch as an artist.
Yeah.
I exclude them from the formula of like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and they're going to sit there and enjoy it. And if they don't, that's their problem. But if you worry about them so much, then you feel like, oh, 2 minutes of awkward silence is really, really long. And
Yeah.
they didn't like that joke, so I got to really start pandering to them, you know?
Yeah.
If you kind of basically earn their respect, they will love you by the end of it. If you basically make them learn something new about themselves, like not every average person has sat through experimental art or what have you.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel it's very important to have an element of humor involved, but I very much want to make people feel out of their comfort zones and maybe reward them with, hey, you don't have to be just noise and you don't have to be just music. It's all combined, and that is the kind of approach I'm going for. And so that's why I said a banjo filled with sauerkraut lit on fire. I thought maybe metaphorically covered that somehow.
Right. No, it makes
So,
sense.
like, I kind of want to know what your writing process is like.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Because I've like attempted to write skits and stuff, and I'll get like halfway through and be like, "Is this funny? Has any of this been funny? Do I know what funny is?"
Yeah, how do you
And I'm like,
work
then
through that?
then I just get two in my head, and then I just stop it.
Share it with your friends. Just to see if your friends laugh, like chances are more other people will laugh. And your friends don't laugh, still other people might laugh. Your friends might not have a sense of humor. But and also at the same time, any person in the process of finding out who they are as an artist and really feel insecure about it, all artists, no matter who you are, have some sort of element of doubt and insecurity, and that kind of helps them worry about being better and trying harder. Go through the radio, go through channel surfing, or just go to your local open mic and just see for yourself what the scope of talent is out there, what the variety is, and maybe you're better than that. You know, maybe you're selling yourself short because you can't compete with an auto-tuned #1 hit, or you're hearing some sort of macho, anatomically focused potty humor on the comedy circuit. You know what I mean? There's lots of stuff that is just sold. Just it's not that great. It's not that great, and the average person just is conditioned to think, "Oh, it's good enough because I heard it on TV or the radio."
If it's reached that point, then it must be
Yeah,
good.
you might have a lot
it
more to
should
say
be.
about the world than what you're hearing on the TV and radio. So I would not let that deter you. And if you feel insecurity, that's good, because if you're too confident in yourself, you're gonna get too lazy.
Do you think insecurity is part of comedy?
I'm horrible. Yeah. So I put myself down every morning. I body shame myself. I let my cats walk all over me. You know what I mean? I just leave the house feeling terrible, and that's how I feel like I'm gonna make a difference.
What did you say to yourself this morning?
Even your teeth are fat, and that's why you're not getting brushed with tooth. I'm gonna brush you with margarine, not even butter. Yeah,
Sounds
Not even
delicious.
good enough for that.
that's it, and that's all it took, and that's how I got here. So that's why I'm sorry this is gonna smell like buttered bread when I'm
The next guest will be able to smell that.
He's gonna be dipping his biscuits in it.
So how do you, like, when you have a bit that you think is funny, you know, and you've kind of vetted it. You're like, I think this is it. You know, I want to take this to the stage. Like, is there a process? Because I've listened to I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience a lot, and he talks sometimes about how he refines material and stuff. Is there like a process you have where you might have a bit in a rough form, and then you take it on stage and you're like, oh, I need to change like this and that about it, and like that'll get better laughs. That punchline will hit harder this way, like kind of thing.
Again, I almost never go with the same routine. Excuse me. Pardon. I never do the same routine, and I actually don't really do what they would call bits, where some comedians might be able to talk about themselves or relationships or your job or just, I'm getting old, or hey, what's it like being me, you know? And then they go on all these examples. I like one-liners. I like jokes. I'm a joke man. And so I like doing jokes, and every now and then I will like integrate a little bit of personal history, but I kind of have it disguised because I don't like talking about myself too much. So it's very much a barricade made of jokes.
Yeah.
They're just jokes. And I will work with the audience, but I kind of don't go in with a preconceived idea of what I want to do, because at the same time, it's like you could tell when people are scripted and you can tell when they're organic. And I like that. And so I try to go there with my pants down just a little bit. Just down enough so I can pull them up when I need them.
Right.
You know?
Just enough.
Just
I
enough.
think that belongs on a poster somewhere.
Yeah.
With a nice landscape in the background.
It's the hang in there cat poster, and then right next to it is that one.
Get a belt, cat.
So you don't do the same. You don't even do the same routine usually more than once. How do you figure out that much material?
I don't remember. I have a lot of jokes written down. I divide them into my town, the city, topical events, drugs, school, sexualities, you know, and you just basically, and then I have like 5 to 6 jokes on each one. So I try to go through like a loose narrative and try to cover, and I try to see who's in the audience, and if there's a different variety of kinds of people, I try to include them in all my jokes. If I have a
So you do improv, a lot of improv.
yeah, or I have like an existing list of just jokes that may be centric for that kind of guy
you
or that
just
kind of
pull,
guy.
yeah.
Just want to pull from it.
Yeah.
But and occasionally I do have backup jokes so that I know that if a joke on the fly doesn't go, I have jokes that already exist. If you come on out, maybe you'll understand how I kind of have it working. And I never really claim to be just a comedian on the top. I would really rather regard myself as an entertainer.
Right.
And it kind of sucks because some musicians find themselves like, oh, I'm a musician, and the comedians I'm a comedian, and they don't really want to swap one for the other or interchange them. And I personally just want to be an entertainer, and in a perfect world, I'd be hailed as a genius. And not worried about being this or that. Just like, this guy's just genius. Give him something to do, and he'll make gold.
Is it hard to get venues to kind of understand that going in, or is there like a sort of like market for that?
The thing is, yes, it is hard, and that's the part of the problem of genre defiance, is that I have to basically prove myself. Some things might have like a portfolio presentation of, this is who we are, people like us, you know, and then if we go to your rock bar, people are gonna buy beer to your music, you know, and like it's easy to kind of sell yourself for some kind of things. If you have like a little bit of eyeliner, tight pants, and a cool jacket, it's like, oh, that guy, that makes sense. I know that guy. But, you know, you're going with a balloon and a banjo and some spandex, people are like, I don't know what to do with this guy. But, so, for instance, I've been playing at John and Peter's, which is a cool bar in New Hope. And after about 6 or 7 shows of all variety, I did not do a single song repeated. So they're all new songs and all new jokes. So whoever is seeing this is like, oh, wow, that guy has not repeated himself. It was brought into fruition, my efforts, and they invited me to do a comedy show June 28th. So I have a comedy show. So once in a while, my efforts are rewarded, but it is very difficult to not pigeonhole yourself as a category. But in the end, you'll probably last longer than people who are just trying so hard to fit in. And I recommend, if you want to succeed in this life, fit in immediately and then save your money from whatever profits you make, you know. But if you can just wait it out as an artist, maybe do that too.
So not fitting in is part of it.
If you don't want your artistic integrity compromised, you basically do what you have to do. Just do what you got to do, and that's it. Uh-oh, things are getting uncrumpled over here.
I'm trying to read the outline that I crumbled up as a joke. It's very loud.
Pat's really pulling for material.
When comedy bites back.
So I hear you have a story about Mom and the Squirrel. That's what I have written on my script.
I talked to
I didn't write.
Amaris for about an hour
sorry.
last week about this. You're sorry about that.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
I'm sorry anyone that had to endure a conversation that long with her. Oh, we're all survivors. We should get ribbons for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's listening somewhere.
Same
I'm
for
sure.
anyone who comes on this show, even.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It's rough.
It is rough, but it's a good night for radio broadcasting because it's kind of wet out. So the
Very.
satellite transmissions are a little slick.
Right.
The antennas are a little glistened, little wet antennas everywhere in the
Yeah,
rainy
yeah.
breeze. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
bouncing around storm cloud by storm cloud. Oh yeah, so she mentioned that she's from Palmerton or Lehighton, Amherst Farrow. She told-
Lehighton,
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, you'll have to forgive me. I'm from Lehighton. You know, you got to know what that's like." And like,
That's exactly how she sounds too. That's
Exactly,
crazy.
yeah, I was practicing that. So yeah, I think I got that.
You're an
down.
impressionist.
She told me about Lehighton, and then she was immediately conditioned to apologize for it. Like there's something against Lehighton, which there isn't. You're fine and beautiful up there. And I said, well, my dad is from Lehighton. My mom's from old school Allentown. But I understand some of like the backwoods stigma that some might have with Lehighton area. And I gave an example to her as to when I was like 13 or 14. The last time I ate squirrel meat, which is very good, by the way, if you ever get a chance to eat squirrel. The last time I ever had squirrel was my dad for their anniversary. He hunted, caught, cleaned, and cooked like 4 or 5 squirrels. Like 3 squirrels is a meal for someone. You know, like 6 squirrels is like a nice romantic dinner between 2. And he got a squirrel dinner for my mom for their anniversary. And my mom, like my dad, he's not even a cook. So he's like cooking these squirrels in the kitchen. My mom just sees the squirrels in the pot and she starts crying. Oh, what did I marry into? This is my anniversary. I'm eating squirrels. And my dad, he totally meant like, he meant
The best
the
intentions.
best intentions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a greater intention from like I got dressed up in camouflage, 4 a.m, hung out in the woods, and I caught 6 of these tree rodents.
I've never seen a dog actually catch up to a squirrel, so I have no hope that I'd ever actually catch a
It's a
squirrel.
little known fact, but bullets are faster than dogs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's how I judge. Yeah, my capabilities off of
science.
dogs. Yeah.
So
Light speed versus dog.
the point of the story is eat a squirrel. And
Will it fix my marriage?
are you really married?
No.
No, but it will definitely it'll put your divorce into full force throttle.
Or really get those papers signed quick.
Yeah, sure will. Well, even the bell
Dude, I have
stopped,
no
so-
idea how
the
that
That was the ghost of 1,000 squirrels coming in here. And,
Dude, the universe decided that was a bad joke.
Someone just threw the bell at me. The ghost of WXLV. Oh no. Have you? What's the most exotic animal you've eaten? Is squirrel it?
in fact, I would not call it exotic. That's very
That seems like the
Pennsylvanian.
opposite of
That's an
exotic.
indigenous.
Well, it's not. No,
Pennsylvania-
but I'm saying. Well, okay. I'm saying like the most out of the ordinary. Like squirrel is not, unless you're at Cabela's. Like squirrel is not the thing that you're usually dining on. You know, very often. You know, so is that like the most kind of out there?
I would just like to reiterate to our squirrel eating listeners that there's nothing wrong with eating squirrels, and if you happen to eat squirrels, Chandler means no disrespect by it. You're Chandler, right?
Thanks.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. Yes.
No, because
For
some
now.
guy's like mid-bite in a squirrel, and he's like, "What'd he say about me? I'm a novelty act? This is
Do you
my
actually?
dinner."
Is it that often that people eat squirrel? Dude?
We're in the Lehigh Valley, so you'll pass a lot more supermarkets than you will squirrel nests. But I would think some people eat squirrels. But since you asked, I will try anything. I've eaten rattlesnake. I've eaten frog legs. I've
like
eaten
frog legs.
Grasshoppers. Little Spanish sun-dried. They're called chapulines.
I've been meaning to try those.
It's been on my list for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really. I've had alligator meat many times. I lived in Florida for a while.
We had alligator for the first time in Florida. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good. It is good. You don't think so?
So yeah, that's right. It was in New Orleans at a Cajun place.
Mm,
It was very good.
good for you.
That's an official retraction.
Yeah. Sorry, Florida. Not this time. I didn't see one gator in Florida.
Dude,
I
when
lived there for like
when I went down
4
to visit, I
months.
was trying to get eaten by a gator, but I didn't see a
I
single
know,
one.
It never happened,
I
dude.
couldn't even like fabricate something.
People
closest-
always say.
we
I
looked
always
up
hear
gators
stories
on-
about the gators. They're like, oh, there's gators in the middle of the road.
Oh, they're inland. We got to
They're
go to
more
the...
inland. Yeah, yeah. See, I was in Orlando.
Because
So it's like
going down.
Yeah, they're not in line at the
yeah.
Epcot Center.
No.
I looked up where the gators
They must
are.
be this tall to get in there, and alligators are like that tall. They don't stand
I
on
tried
the
to find where the gators are, and it was like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Let's look up gators on Google.
Everglades is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's their land.
That's where I'm going
Or-
next on my adventure to be eaten by a gator.
On the sidelines at a Florida Gators game.
Ah.
Oh wow, they don't really count. They're actually humans.
What?
Is there had to be at some point where the Florida Gators had an actual alligator
Yeah.
at a game, right?
I would hope so.
And it probably went bad.
It,
Sports and gators only lead to one thing, and that's Gatorades
That's
with electrolytes.
right. Yeah. You got to punish his electrolytes.
I want to do something in my life that warrants getting a tub of Gatorade dumped on me. You know what I mean? Like I want
could
an
do that right
achievement.
now.
A champion.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, Gatorade's like 10 for 10 at Giant. We made like $15. I can get you dumped like a gallon of Gatorade. on
No,
you.
but I want to earn it. You know?
we can make that up too. I can throw you a frisbee
Make
and you
that
like
up.
run into like an end zone. You're like, yeah, and then we just dump Gatorade on you. This could happen today. This could happen
Electrolytes
tonight.
are great for frizzy hair, by the way,
Really? Mm-hmm. If there was any,
and it
cure-
protects your one eye, so you won't get any
Right.
electrolytes in your eye because it's being protected by an eye patch of frizz.
If there were any cure for this condition of hair, I would
The cure is
Partake
conditioner, I
immediately.
think.
conditioner. Yeah, probably.
We're going on a break. That's enough of that. We'll be right back.
They
All right, we're back.
Oh, they do. No,
yeah.
well, I have a music video. You can go on
Guys,
back.
we're
back.
live. We're live. We're actually on live radio.
We have
That's the last time I kissed a man.
We have a new advancement on the Chandler frizzy hair thing. Apparently, he's been using 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner.
What is so? What's up?
It doesn't work.
What do you
it's
mean
not
it doesn't
good.
work? Why would they sell it?
99% of the 2-in-1s I've used have been garbage.
Okay.
But there was a kids shampoo
Oh.
2-in-1 that worked.
What was it called?
No
I
tears.
can't give you my
It's the no
secrets.
tears
I'm going to use conditioner and shampoo.
I
They don't use that
mean,
shampoo in heaven.
I think it was like the Suave Kids stuff I used to
Okay.
use like
So
5
Chandler,
years
are you
ago.
using
It was
Suave
really
Kids
good.
though?
No.
What are you using?
I'm using Head and Shoulders Old Spice.
I guarantee that has no conditioner in it.
Nate, what are you using right now for your hair?
Mayonnaise.
Interesting.
It's from leftover from my sandwich.
I hear that's better for making grilled cheese. Is you like toast the outside of the bread with mayo?
Disgusting.
No, I would rather use butter.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
are you
teach their own.
serious?
No, I use a Aussie on my grilled cheese. Yeah.
Nate, you have some stuff to plug that you brought with us. I see you got a stack of laser discs.
Laserdisc. Well,
HD
I know that
DVD.
we're in a digital age, kids, so I'm gonna give you a little brief history lesson on CDs. Compact. Oh, yeah.
Betamax.
Gather round, children. Let's light a match. Yes. So I have. I think I have 6 CDs that I have made. Sorry, my thousands of listeners, but one of the titles I was told that I can't plug because it may not be FCC friendly.
It's the first time I've been the man who's shutting something down.
Yeah.
Now you're
Doesn't
the man.
feel good.
But you can feel free to inquire in the posts below. I'm going to break the fourth
Please.
wall. Ask me in the comments section
Yes.
as to what title of what album I'm not allowed to play.
I
here.
encourage you to comment that, and we will
Please
reply.
do.
Yeah.
So the albums that I have here in chronology of production is my first album is called Hexendance. Hexendance. Ooh, this is what it looks like for those that don't see it. But that's a giant ground sloth and an orb on the cover.
Interesting. And he's exiting the orb, it looks like.
Yeah, they kind of work as a team.
Oh,
and
they're
that's
buds?
a real
Okay.
animal.
So, and it has a hex sign for the CD, But really what the CD
Nice.
was about is it's Song, Spells, and Rituals. This is my first musical effort, and I was greatly inspired by Pennsylvania Dutch mysticism, which exists. They call them powwows or brockery, but there used to be
Oh.
a book of spell book called The Long Lost Friend. And the Pennsylvania Dutch were very superstitious people. That's why you still see hex signs on things, just trying to bring good energy to their to the
Hexes
land.
were bad.
Hexes can be good or bad, just like karma can be good or bad.
Or spells can be good or bad.
There's love spells,
Ooh.
love hexes, yeah. So for instance, the word hexendance is the Pennsylvania Dutch word for crop circle, and now hexendance literally means dance of the witch. So to their farming perceptions, the crop circle on their land was not a witch dancing in, it was not a UFO, it was a witch dancing in a circle. So I like to use this term
terrifying.
hexendance as to sort of celebrate and include everything that is paranormal phenomenon, and it's rooted in PA Dutch mysticism, and it talks about my own personal experiences as a child in Alberta, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And when I was a child, I saw a giant ground sloth, a type of hominoid, Bigfoot type creature. And then years later, I saw a orb come out of the ground, and it expanded and contracted, and it looked very much like that. And it chased my friend Tom Folds and myself out of the park, and it expanded and it grew legs, and it kind of, it was very.
Which park was this? So
Lockridge Park. You can go there, and I'm not. If you're from the area, a lot of people have said they had seen orbs. Not a lot of people have said they've seen the ground sloth. Only one other person I know.
I had this phenomenon where I see a lot of kids taking prom photos there.
There's a lot of prom photos. Yeah, so some of the prom dates may have been confused for ground sloths, but I think that was just an unflattering woman in a dress.
All right.
Okay. So that's my first album, was celebrating PA Dutch mysticism. And if anybody wants to know about my experiences with the ground sloth or the orb, I have a great story involved with that. So that was my first album. Second album is called Objects in Hi-Fi.
Nice.
This would be more of what you would call the avant-garde. It was basically home recordings of all instruments and out-of-tuned or deliberately a-tuned things, and cups of water, cabinets, drawers, things that squeak, doors closing. Me and my friend were just in such a trance, and we made this over like 4-day period of just recording objects in a room, and it was called Objects in Hi-Fi. And there's a very meditative ambience to it, and I'm very proud of this, and it's very unusual. It's not for the average consumer, but it comes off as what you would think you hear in like a artsy sci-fi soundtrack or a horror movie soundtrack. Kind of cold, lots of rubber bands. I have rubber bands and shoe boxes. You stick microphones in there, so it kind of has a maybe a little psychedelic, a little spooky kind of sound. This one is called Hide Your Squirrels. It has. This is a.
I saw that one on Facebook.
This is one of my more popular ones. This is a pink Bigfoot. A lot of Bigfoot themes go on through my albums, and I do the cover art for this. But this is more of a country, rock and roll, folk punk kind of thing, and some of it is recorded live. But this is very much an Americana, bluegrass inspired kind of album. I play all the albums on. It was recorded mostly in my living room, and that's Hide Your Squirrels. It is backwoods, avant-garde noise folk. Avant-garde noise folk. So there you have it, kids. One of my most favorite albums is Hiva Hava, and I would say that this is very much the most accessible of my production efforts. It has most of my songs have my albums have 20 songs on it, and it is complete genre defiance. One song is completely different from the next. So as soon as you hear the heavy metal song, you hear a country song, then you hear a jazz song, and then you hear a folk song, then you hear like a techno song. I have like an auto-tuned pop song. And Hiva Hava is another reference to Pennsylvania Dutch or PA German. A Hiva Hava is a farm term, which is the farm hand that helps assist. You're going to definitely to this. It helps assist with the insemination of a female cow. So you have to excite the bull and manipulate the bull into the cow, and that's called the Hiva Hava. But the term is also loosely used as like, oh, you old fool, you. You know, you old Hiva Hava, me there's no Hiva Hava, you know. So it's like a funny, what's up, you know, you foo, you know, kind of thing, like a term of endearment, but sort of an insult at the same time. And Hiva Hava has all the hits. You can find a lot of the songs, everything from Shooting Dogs to the Third World Disco to Harambe to 99.9 The Hawk. Yes, this is very recent.
99 The Hawk.
Well, 99.9 The Hawk was, I come up with my own, because I'm really kind of fascinated with commercial radio, so I have a song, I have unofficial theme songs to like the 48 Hour Video Store. I have my own theme song.
I used to go to 48 Hours.
Well, check out the song. It's on this album. I have the 99.9 The Hawk official theme song. You know? And Juggalo Boat Cruise. That's another idea. That is the other one. The other one, I'm not going to say the name, but it is called...
show it to the camera. Just for the that's not gonna.
Oh, because the radio can't.
Actually,
no,
YouTube
can
show it to Lizzie because she'll be able to.
So I can't say the word over the thing, but on YouTube there's no like FCC.
That's right.
Can I say it in Spanish or spell it out?
I wouldn't do that.
Your Spanish listeners are too hip, huh? Yeah. Okay. Well, this is called Nate Marks, and the name of the thing is a certain number, and then dolphin, and then a certain form of entertainment.
It's about dolphins.
Yeah,
and basically the album is comprised of songs inspired by conspiracies or conspiracy theories. And when I worked at the video store, instead of customers, we would have old lonely people come in and talk about the craziest things in the world. And three of my most favorite guys that came in were Reptile Don
Okay.
was one, Insect Joe was another,
Okay.
and another guy called like Rabbi Joe, more or
Okay.
less. And these three guys would come in here and they talk about things that they were like fascinated with. And Reptile Don is my most favorite. He was obsessed with reptilian hominoids. And he would come in
Oh.
and give me all these books about hollow earth, flat earth, different alien races coming by. And he told me all
Hold on,
these...
real quick. How can you be both a flat earther and a hollow earther?
Carefully.
Okay.
There's a little bit of leeway in there.
There's a little.
Because even flat Earth, the crust it's thick.
It's thick.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
because it's
Yeah,
flat
makes
doesn't mean you
sense.
can't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
inside
yeah.
of it.
Just enough space for a subterranean city.
Again, I'm just giving a shout out to him. I don't really subscribe to the beliefs.
Do you think he's listening?
I would hope so, but I know he's not.
Did you work at the 48-hour video in Lehighton?
No, I never got out that far.
Oh,
I never ascended the corporate ladder of video store stardom. I was South Bethlehem to Allentown. That's where I worked for 6 happy years. And it was like riding a pterodactyl, that's crashing into a building. It's like, I want to see this pterodactyl burst into flames. And then like,
That's what video
they pulled me
stores are
out like, no, you're not riding this pterodactyl out to the end. We're just, so they pulled me out before they actually had the final closing. And closing out sales is great because you get paid really not a whole lot, but you're really not doing a whole lot.
Like you're losing your job.
The owner was very miserable. So he made I love movies so much, and I very much wanted to be involved with that. It wasn't for the money or the novelty so much. It was just like I love movies, and it had the most eclectic collective of clientele, and I really enjoyed talking to some of the most fascinating people.
Isn't it so sad that we don't have video stores anymore? There's something
Sorry,
about like
we don't
I
have
mean,
time to talk about that.
it's more convenient now, obviously, but
Yeah, it's a digital age. It's not people aren't into tangible things.
yeah.
But then again,
your
you're
CDs.
reflecting your wholesome outlook on everything. They are still video
Aw.
stores. They're just not the kind of movies that most people would want to watch.
Right.
Or most people talk about watching.
Right.
Adult video stores are still
Right.
prevalent, and there's one the 24
Which
hours
is
in
weird.
Allentown. It is,
Those are
for
still
that-
around.
That's for the demographic that has not yet discovered the internet.
I guess.
Yeah, it's still a caveman's way.
Guys, I'm sorry. I really gotta shut this down. It's not up to, it's the man.
It's the man.
And not
the
me
time.
this time.
It's actually the
It's the
clock.
man
Oh, is it the
above
time
me.
already?
It's time already, yeah.
I was not talking about professional things. I was not here to discuss, his preferences.
So, if anyone has anything they want to shout out,
Hey, close
Request
the
lines are open.
now's your time. Yeah, we're taking callers.
Nate, anything you want to shout out? Any upcoming shows?
Oh, yes, please.
What are you into? What are you doing? What's coming up?
What I have coming up is the official Nate Marks tour, as you can read.
Yeah.
You see that? There's actually...
Wow, that is official.
Yeah.
Official.
I'm going to fire the guy that did this.
Right.
So, Dad, you're fired. The official Nate Marks tour is kicking off May 28th at the Brewworks in Allentown, PA. I am part of a comedic ensemble. Yes, potentially paid gig even. I don't even know, but
Potentially.
I get to be...
Is that what they dangled in front of you? You're like, this
Well,
might
the last
be
time I
paid.
had a borderline potentially paid gig, I was opening up for a established comedian, and he wrote for The Ellen Show. And it's like, who am I? I'm opening up for the guy who writes for The Ellen Show. So it's sort of like a
Yeah.
win-lose situation. I'm good enough to open up for the guy who's not good enough to be his own man. He's good enough to write for Ellen. So that's sort of like a winner and a loser kind of thing in one shot. But May 28th, I'm going to be at the Allentown Brewworks as part of a comedic ensemble doing the comedy and hits that got me to where I am today. Schnecksville, huh? And then afterwards, following month, June 28th, I'm also doing another comedic thing at John and Peter's, the coolest bar in New Hope, which is out in Bucks County, the charming little Delaware River town. And that's June 28th. And that is another comedy kind of thing. I don't know how much time they get, but I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 funny songs and maybe about 15 minutes of so-called comedy. The following day, June 29th, I will be at the Gin Mill of Northampton. I'm hosting a couple bands. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Gin Mill Northampton is pretty good. It's a pretty nice place. And I will be doing a Nate Marks set. So it'll be more music than comedy. And because it's sort of like a biker bar town, I may have to bring the balloons and the spandex.
Right.
Just to upset them.
Just to really shake it up.
Yeah, just to shake their biker feathers.
Change their worldview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I win him over with the handlebar mustache.
Right.
And then I
It's
I
right
chase
into
it.
the
Make him
balloons.
think you're on their
I actually
side.
bring spandex to a lot of my shows too. If you come and see it, it's
Now I'm definitely showing
yeah.
you.
Do we have anything to shout out?
I don't think at the moment.
Our last guest, George Schraub, has
Oh, yeah.
a podcast, and he said some nice things about us, which was very charming. So, if, you know, and I listened to the whole episode. It
Same.
was very fun. It was very good. Check that out.
That's
It's called the Geologic Podcast.
Episode 611.
Yeah.
And check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything else. Thanks for watching. Poorly Edited Podcast, signing out. Nate Marks, thanks so much
Thank
for
you
coming.
so much for having me.
It's
I
been a
really
blast.
appreciate it. It has been a blast. Thank you. Maybe it's the celery talking.
It's
but
the same.
I feel it.
I don't think I can drive home.